What was supposed to be a routine parliamentary session quickly turned into a full-blown political battleground. Keir Starmer came under intense fire over what many in Westminster are now calling a co-vote deal with the European Union. During Prime Minister's questions, tensions soared. Boos, accusations, and shouting filled the Commons as the debate began to resemble a political trial more than a standard exchange. The Labour leader, visibly cornered, tried to defend his actions, but the criticism was relentless. He was accused of having traded away national sovereignty in exchange for diplomatic favours from Brussels, all without the knowledge or approval of the British public. The revelation stunned even the most seasoned MPs. What emerged wasn't just a partisan dispute, but potentially a profound shift in the direction of the country. Starmer, who had previously assured the public there would be no return to EU ties, is now facing allegations of having secretly negotiated a framework that, according to his critics, gradually reasserts EU control over the UK. And the backlash didn't just come from the Conservatives. Signs of unease also surfaced within Labour's own ranks. MPs from across the aisle demanded urgent answers. What exactly does this agreement entail? Why were financial commitments to the EU made without any public discussion? And how long has this been in the works? A leading opposition figure delivered a scathing rebuke, claiming British fishermen would be locked out of key waters until 2038, farmers forced to comply with regulations imposed from Brussels, and taxpayers left footing the bill for policies they had no say in. Is this what taking back control looks like? He asked. Or is it simply surrender by another name? The Commons erupted. It was revealed that Starmer's team had repackaged a previously rejected youth mobility scheme as a so-called cultural exchange, without set limits or clear timelines. It also came to light that the deal includes UK contributions to EU military operations, with no binding commitments in return. Outrage grew when a leaked confidential memo suggested further negotiations were already underway, aimed at deeper integration in areas such as digital standards, environmental regulation, and customs alignment. We were told this was mere technical cooperation, an MP warned, but the back door to Brussels is already wide open. Starmer attempted to justify the deal by saying it would bring economic stability and reduce trade friction. But his speech was interrupted by a blunt heckle. If it's so good, why did you hide it from the country? His silence and the lack of response from the Labour front bench spoke volumes. The public reaction was swift. Social media exploded once the debate was broadcast, with hashtags like #StarmerTraitor and #BackdoorBrexit trending within minutes. Even Labour supporters and high-profile commentators expressed shock and disappointment. This sounded more like a love letter to the EU than a vision for leading Britain, wrote one viral user. Within the Labour Party, internal tensions are mounting. Some MPs are reportedly preparing to go public with their concerns. One described the deal as political suicide and warned that resignations could follow if Starmer continues down this path. Labour's leadership now faces a stark dilemma: backtrack and alienate pro-EU voters, or press on and enrage Brexit supporters. Legal experts have cautioned that this isn't a diplomatic misunderstanding but rather a calculated strategy to hand powers back to Brussels through legal loopholes and buried clauses. One such clause allows the EU to trigger biannual consultations on regulatory alignment, a move that could quietly pressure the UK into mirroring EU law without any say in its creation. Moreover, the UK has committed to funding EU strategic projects, including in defence, while British firms remain excluded from key contracts. We're paying the bill without even having a seat at the table, one MP said. The deal also includes a new youth mobility programme. Though framed as a cultural opportunity, it lacks concrete limits, verification mechanisms, or clear quotas. For some MPs, this represents a return of free movement, dressed up as something else, at a time when Britain's immigration system is already under severe strain. British farmers have voiced their anger, too. Under the deal, they'll be subject to EU standards they had no part in shaping, all while competing against heavily subsidised European imports. The National Farmers Union issued a damning statement, calling the agreement unfair, unbalanced, and harmful to rural communities. The situation is even more troubling when it comes to energy policy. The UK is now bound to the EU's carbon emissions trading scheme. Any adjustments to domestic carbon pricing must first be approved by EU regulators, significantly limiting Britain's energy independence. We've handed Brussels the keys to our power grid, said one MP. Throughout the debate, Labour's leadership offered no clear answers, just vague assurances, diplomatic evasions, and an unsettling silence that only deepened public mistrust. For many, what was billed as pragmatic diplomacy now appears to be a quiet attempt to reverse Brexit without the people's consent. If you're as concerned about this as millions of others across the UK, give this video a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to stay informed with uncensored updates about Britain's future. See you in the next video.